A minor? Technically multiple minors. These kids were real pricks. It feels really good to talk about this, actually.
If you loved the original Karate Kid movie, you've probably heard of how Cobra Kai has allowed its legacy to live on. The show has helped original fans and newcomers enjoy martial arts on the screen. But when Cobra Kai was being shot, a lot went on behind the scenes. So let me walk you through 10 behind-the-scenes facts of Cobra Kai that you might not have heard of. Number 10. Cholo Maridueña's daily regimen. According to Cholo, his training was a daily 2 to 4 hour regimen of working with professional stunts, martial arts, boxing, strength, and yoga instructor teams to get him in amazing shape. He also admitted that a lot of hard work went into his character, and he had to train intensively to achieve authenticity for his character on the show. And obviously his training paid off because he looks like the ultimate karate master in Cobra Kai.
You liked all of her photos.
Oh no.
Number 9. The Cobra Kai game. If you're looking for more Cobra Kai action, you can find it in Cobra Kai: The Karate Kid Saga Continues, a side-scrolling action game that was released in October 2020 for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Machio and Zabka also ended up lending their voices to the game, which features their characters as well as Robbie, Miguel, and Hawk in a dojo battle. The game is pretty cool and pretty popular amongst Cobra Kai fans. Number 8. Bertrand's Mohawk. If you've been following Cobra Kai, you probably know about Jacob Bertrand's iconic mohawk. But did you know the amount of time that is spent preparing this mohawk? Apparently, the mohawk takes the hair and makeup team around an hour each day before filming. That's right. That's really a long time to spend on a hairdo each day. The character that Jacob plays, Eli, rocks this hairdo to improve his self-esteem and feel better about himself.
And we bumped into some guys and we're like, oh, sorry. What the heck?
Number 7. The Easter egg in the second season. If you're a fan of the 1984 original, you might recall the moment when LaRusso arrives in California. This is when he makes fast friends with Freddy Fernandez, who's played by Israel Huarbe at the apartment complex. Fernandez is usually seen wearing a Macon Bacon t-shirt, and he's clearly in love with it. So in the 7th episode of the second season of Cobra Kai, Fernandez's passions are revisited when LaRusso takes his students to train in a walk-in meat locker. And you won't believe what's written on those lockers. Each of the lockers and the boxes behind LaRusso are stamped with labels that read Fernandez Meat Company. Looks like Fernandez pursued his passion for meat and actually made a career out of it. This Easter egg was pretty easy to spot, especially if you're a fan of the original movie. Number 6. Expanding the Karate Kid universe. A behind-the-scenes fact you'll be pleased to hear is that the show might be getting some spin-offs. That's right. The Karate Kid universe might just expand further very soon. And with a 3rd season of Cobra Kai imminent and a 4th one already ordered by Netflix, there is plenty more Cobra Kai to consume. In an interview with Film in 2020, creators Heald, Hurwitz, and Schlossberg revealed that they're considering possible spin-offs because the Karate Kid universe is vast and definitely deserves more attention. The creators also mentioned that they love all the characters they had created and also wanted to expand on their lives and stories. Hurwitz mentioned that he had at least 5 different scenarios that he wanted to pursue, and the team would potentially consider them soon. Some of these ideas also might be a little unconventional, but Hurwitz clearly wants to challenge and grow the Karate Kid universe.
We wanted it to feel like this is from the same universe, but have a natural progression for these guys.
Number 5. The original 1947 Ford Super Deluxe. In the original Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi gifts LaRusso with one of his classic cars, a 1947 Ford Super Deluxe. This car makes an appearance on the show, too. But you'll be pleased to know that the creators of the show didn't settle for a fake version of the car or a double. Instead, they got the very same car that had aired in the original movie. That's right, the creators of the show wanted to stay as authentic as they possibly could, and the car clearly added a great nostalgic touch. Did you know that this car was a gift from Columbia Pictures that was given to Machio? This happened after the 3rd Karate Kid movie was released in 1989. He kept the car since then and also suggested it be included in the series. But the car obviously had to be cleaned and repaired since it was at least 2 decades old and needed to look as new as possible.
He was great. We had a great time, and I have the 47 Ford convertible. I have the wax on, wax off car.
Number 4. Buchanan's experience with karate. If you've watched Cobra Kai, you've probably heard of Tanner Buchanan, who plays the famous Robbie Keene in the series. He's the wayward son of Johnny Lawrence who eventually falls under the tutelage of LaRusso. But did you know that Buchanan also has his own personal history with karate? That's right. He was acquainted with the sport long before he even starred on the show. When he was talking to Machio for Interview Magazine in 2020, Buchanan said that his mother was a black belt in karate and also introduced him to the 1984 film. This is when he fell in love with karate himself. And his mother obviously always encouraged him since she was super big on the movie herself. Buchanan added that he didn't re-watch the movie prior to his audition, but he still ended up getting a phone call from Machio telling him he got the part. And he got this phone call as he was watching 1986's Karate Kid Part 2. So maybe he was destined to play the iconic Robbie Keane in the series. Number 3. The unseen camera angles. Another behind-the-scenes fact about Cobra Kai are the show's unseen camera angles. The show begins by flashing back to 1984's The Karate Kid and seemingly set both LaRusso and Lawrence on their respective paths. But even though the story is pretty consistent, the footage looks a little different. This is because the producers were able to locate unseen and unused camera angles from the climactic fight in the movie. They got these scenes from the Sony vaults and intended to use them in the show to add more authenticity to the show's story. So the show features clips from the actual movie, which works wonders for it because it adds authenticity. It's also a very creative idea. You might not be aware of this, but one particular shot of LaRusso's foot landing on Lawrence's face was not even seen in the original film. But it was still added to the show because of how monumental that particular scene was.
You're dead.
Number 2. When Zabka broke his toe. If you're a Cobra Kai fan, you probably know how intense the fights can turn out to be. But even though the actors are trained extensively, accidents still take place on set. You might not be aware of this, but in 2019, Zabka actually gave a special interview at the Paley Center where he revealed one of his major injuries. This occurred during one of the intense fight scenes, during which Zabka broke his toe. You might not believe this, but even though he had a broken toe, Zabka did not stop shooting. That's right, he didn't even tell anyone he'd broken a toe and continued shooting the scene as if nothing had happened. But after most of the scene was over, Zabka had to hobble over to the side because he couldn't even walk properly. Thankfully, a team of medics was available to assist him, and his stuntman took care of the rest of the scenes. But it's still fascinating to see how passionate the actors were about their performance and the show.
You ran over it with your motorcycle.
I didn't run it over. Dutch ran it over. I just threw it.
Number 1. When Machio got reprise offers. When Cobra Kai was conceived by producers Josh Harold, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg, Machio thought that it was the right time to say yes to a Karate Kid revival after nearly 3 decades of turning them down. The reason why he turned it down before was to protect the Karate Kid world. He wasn't sure if the new productions could do justice to the original story, and he didn't want to participate in creating something that wasn't really substantial. He also revealed that most of the pitches he received from producers followed a very similar storyline. Most of them would involve LaRusso having a child, which prompted him to mirror the influence Mr. Miyagi had on LaRusso in the original films. This would be most of what the pitches would focus on, which wasn't impressive to him at all. And that makes complete sense. Anything that's inspired by the Karate Kid needs to be just as good as the original, if not better. But when he received the idea for Cobra Kai, Machio felt that it had merit and could be pursued. After all, the show sees the universe through the eyes of Johnny Lawrence, which is something that particularly caught Machio's eye. He accepted the show, and it aired 2 seasons on YouTube Red before moving to Netflix in 2020. So what do you think? Is Cobra Kai a good extension of the Karate Kid? Or are you a fan of the original movie? Are there any other behind-the-scenes facts that you know about? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.